for the majority of the season.
Hold on.
We have hold on. We got. Hello, people. Welcome to Strong TV. Today is a little bit of an interesting one, to be honest. Obviously, last night the European Super League was announced. This morning, Mourinho's been sacked. We're not too sure in detail yet whether he refused to train the players after the Super League or he was just sacked. But let's get on to the Super League for the minute. Obviously, it was announced last night, a late announcement last night, that the Super League has been formed of a foundation of 12 clubs. It's an interesting one. So you've got AC Milan, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Chelsea, Barcelona, International Milan, Inter Milan. You've got Juve, you've got Liverpool, got Man City, Man United, Real Madrid, and Spurs. Are all founding clubs. It's been an interesting one, to be honest. I'm really disappointed. It's disappointing. Will, I've sent you the link in Twitter for you to hop on. It's really disappointing. I'm absolutely disgusted with the behaviour of these clubs. For me, for as long as I've known football, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Champions League, they've been up there with the prestigious titles. It's disappointing that teams are being pressured into this. You've signed on the dotted line, and it's just not okay. Obviously Champions League and Europa League have been suspended at the minute. They were temporarily suspended last night, which is really disappointing. Got Will here. How you doing, Will?
I'm very annoyed. I'm still very pissed off.
I agree.
Very annoyed. Very disappointed.
No, it really is.
I feel empty.
I know. I feel like football's kind of been ruined, to be honest.
My life has been a lie. My life has
You know what? I was thinking this. Lampard got sacked because he wasn't capable of getting us to Champions League. But all along, they've been planning this Super League. So I'm a bit confused, if you get what I mean. Like, if he was sacked for one of the main reasons was for Champions League purposes. But if you already knew that this was going to happen, that there was going to be this backlash, like, I don't understand. Big up to Alex. Guys, the link will be going in the comments soon. We're just going to have a little discussion. Will, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think the board should be ashamed of themselves, and any protests that happens peacefully should be taken. Even if they don't listen, just get your voice heard. Get yourself down to Stamford Bridge and voice your opinion, because it's a fucking joke, to be completely honest. It goes against everything that our players, managers, staff have worked towards for countless years. Our history, in my opinion, will be diminished. Who gives a shit about a Champions League? Obviously, the moment will still be there, I guess. But who in 20 years' time will care about the Champions League when it's going to be a B-tier tournament or a B-tier competition?
Well, right now, we don't even know if we're actually going to be allowed to compete in this competition. Right now, Spurs and City in the final of the Carabao Cup might not happen.
Yeah.
Like, this is all things that we are going to be discussing because, as you know, they announced, obviously, Champions League and Europa League suspended, and they're basically making players choose club or country.
The board needs to change. The board the board needs to change their ways in some sort of way. And if that means Roman eventually goes, then it is what it is. Because
Yeah. I know I posted something last night that Arsene Wenger actually predicted in 2009 that there would be these super leagues. But I thought they would have done this with a more, I don't know, a better way around it. They could have had discussions with UEFA and FIFA, so it's not left. Like, have you seen the websites? Like, they didn't come prepared when they released this statement with enough information and enough kind of, they haven't given us enough information. They haven't come prepared. They've given us the basics, but they haven't actually given more information as to if they've actually kind of cooperated with the UEFA and FIFA, like whether they've actually been in contact with them or whether they just sprung them on this as an announcement. I think it's a really difficult one, Gottlandi. If the Carabao Cup final is cancelled, give it to Brentford. I think it's really disappointing that, like, we've got to this point where right now the Super League has basically made the Premier League, the Europa League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup irrelevant. Like, that's not okay. These are cups that have been here for a long time. The Premier League is one of the most prestigious English titles. It's really important. Like, I can't fathom, like, how upset and angry and disappointed I am in my club. It was all just talk, and then all of a sudden last night it's now reality. It's not just something we talk about or it might happen. It is happening. I am gonna get the website up for you guys, so you can see. So obviously, as you can see, it's just showing there's not really much to it. You've got the press release, which obviously just states the 12 clubs. The competition format, we will discuss that. 20 participating clubs with 15 founding clubs and a qualifying mechanism for a further 5 teams to qualify annually based on achievements in the prior season. Midweek fixtures with all participating clubs continuing to compete in their respective national leagues, preserving the traditional domestic match calendar, which remains at the heart of the club game. An August start with clubs participating in 2 groups of 10 playing a home and away fixtures, with the top 3 in each group automatically qualifying for the quarterfinals. Teams finishing 4th and 5th will compete in a 2-legged playoff for the remaining quarterfinal positions. A 2-leg knockout format will be used to reach the final at the end of May, which will be staged as a single fixture at a neutral venue. So it is very interesting because we have actually, there's just, what my frustration is, we haven't played Real Madrid in the Champions League for a long time. And now all of a sudden we're going to be playing them every week. Like, I enjoyed the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Premier League, because we weren't playing the same teams every week. It's going to get so boring when we're playing the same teams every week. Like, it's just, it's ridiculous, and I feel like football's kind of got a real bad taint on it. No one's happy. No one's like excited about any football to come. Like, it's really disappointing. We've got some comments here. The Super League is so stupid. It's just for greed. Football is all about having fun. Yes, football is also business, but the big clubs already make plenty of money. Ranga, how come FIFA can't say no to this idea? I thought they were the bosses of football. Yeah, I think when you've got money and greed, like, it doesn't take much for people to override you. And unfortunately, if you look at the people that are running this Super League, they're the bosses. They've got the money. Like, you've got the Glazers, you've got Kroenke, like, you've got Roman Abramovich, who's agreed to it now. It's a tough one, to be honest. Torstein says, I am very angry. Yep. I think everybody is angry. Guys, let me know in your comments the thoughts and what you would do to change. Because I feel like, yes, UEFA haven't maybe treated us right in the past with ticket sales, especially for like big finals and that, giving us like 2,000 tickets each. Like the Baku finals, a real big point, where we only got 2,000 tickets each. But I just think that this isn't the right way to get back at UEFA. Like, don't be petty like this. I'm against the Super League, but I like the idea of Noble lifting the league title. Now, I get I get it, but you know what the problem is? If you look at that, the Champions League is going to have West Ham, Leicester, and Everton in there. It's sad to see that like a really prestigious game is being really tainted. Like, everybody loves football. Football has got everybody through a lot of times, whether it's good, bad, ugly, evil. Like, especially through the lockdown, you've all been connecting, and it's sad. Do I think protests should be going ahead? Absolutely, as long as they're calm and peaceful. I absolutely agree. I don't condone violence. As long as they're peaceful protests, I'm cool with that. I think the fans should be able to voice their opinions. It's really sad that it's come to this. I'm really speechless for once. But also breaking news this morning, Mourinho was sacked. That's an interesting one, because there's rumours about that. There's whether it was his decision, whether he refused to train the team after finding out about the Super League, or whether he actually was sacked. Whether Daniel Levy decided to actually grow some balls and sack him. They haven't released anything yet. Obviously, Daniel Levy's wished him the best and all that, but it's not. It's just. So obviously, this has just been posted. UEFA President Alexander Serfin has warned players from the 12 breakaway clubs should be banned from all UEFA competitions as soon as possible. And you know what? This actually annoys me, because Chelsea have done so well. They've got to a semi-final. They're going to be playing Real Madrid, who we haven't played. And now we're going to be playing them every single week in this Super League. You're not going to be seeing different teams. Lanzi says Mourinho was sacked for speaking out against the Super League, not believing he was sacked 1 week before a cup final. I agree with him. He should be able to speak out against the Super League. It's just ridiculous, to be honest. But we will go back to the website for a second, have a look, because they do want to show you something, because they have. Hold on 2 seconds. So the formats. So this is the format. This is new. They had not had this on this morning. And it's the Super League is a new, obviously, 15 clubs and 5 annual qualifiers. 8 clubs will qualify for knockout tournaments. Games will be played midweek, and all clubs will remain in their domestic leagues. They're saying all clubs will remain in their domestic leagues, but the problem is that we're all not welcome. We're not welcome in we're not welcome. The UEFA and FIFA, they've decided that they don't want us. Like, they're not happy. You know, and that's just the way it is, to be honest. We seem to have a few problems with the fact that we're not going to be allowed. If we go to the Super League, we're not going to be allowed to play in the Champions League, the Europa League, the FA Cup, the Premier League, anything like that. We're not allowed to play in. So they seem to be acting like they're going to play with, like we're going to play in that, but we've been banned. So how's that going to work? So basically, they've created a Champions League, but you have to pay a load of shit to get in. It's true, they have, literally. And that's just not okay, to be honest. Yeah, ridiculous, to be honest. Guys, I have no idea what to do right now. Like, it's so disappointing after so long. Yeah, my dog actually hates the Super League too. He's been very grumpy. He does not like the Super League. They sacked Mourinho as a way to distract us from speaking against the ESL. And this project flop. These owners will be embarrassed. Yes, I absolutely agree. I've said this morning when I woke up to some of the friends like that. They've sacked Mourinho as a way for Spurs to discuss this. Yeah, my dog is not happy at all. But yeah, guys, hold on. Let's go back to the Super League website. So, guys, as you see that, like, they're just saying on the website that we are still going to be allowed to play in our usual things, but obviously UEFA and FIFA are not. Boris Johnson said that he's going to stop. He vows to try and stop proposed European Super League. One Big Six board member reveals there is a nuclear war in football. I mean, you've caused really big problems, to be honest. Like, no one wants this situation, to be honest. And it's quite sad, to be honest. It is what it is. It's so not okay. Like, but guys, I am going to put the link in the chat if you want to come and have your say. The link is there for you to have your say. Let me know how you guys feel about it. How you feel about the Mourinho being used as a distraction for the ESL. Because Daniel Levy's finally had the balls, but only because he's got to cause a distraction from something else he's already caused. So, is it worth it? Let me know. But it's so disappointing. I don't really know what to say. I was very angry last night when it first came out. I was really, really disappointed. It's just not okay. But yeah, guys, oh man, it's so interesting. I just think that it's a real kick in the teeth, to be honest. There are fans that have been supporting these clubs for like 20, 30 years, and this is the thanks they get. Like, I've supported this club for nearly 18 years, and what do I get from this? Is it worth it? Like, it's sad to see such a demise. But I feel sorry. I feel like if you're going to put money into the top half, it needs to run down through to the Championship, the bottom of the Premier League, League One, League Two, because all of them are going to be going up. Because if we're not allowed back in, and I did see a tweet, this isn't Bible, but I did see a tweet saying that if any team was to come back, like leave the Super League and come back into the English League, they would have to start at the bottom and work their way up from the League Two back up to Premier League. So I know that that's not been straight facts, but if that's the case, I mean, I can't believe that, to be honest. I think all these clubs, I mean, you've got PSG, you've got Borussia Dortmund, you've got Munich, all saying that they will not be joining. They will not be joining the Super League for weeks. Weeks still gives you the time to join. Weeks isn't saying you're not joining. So you know, it's an interesting one, to be honest. I think that they will join eventually, and yeah, I think that PSG want to win the Champions League first, and right now it's not looking that hard for them to do, because obviously you've got City out. So realistically, you could be seeing a Dortmund PSG final, because Dortmund? No, I'm pretty sure Dortmund have already. No, they haven't yet either. So Dortmund also haven't given the go ahead yet. Leipzig have said they don't want any part of it. But these teams are saying they don't want any part of it for now. There's still that opportunity that they will be joining. The worst thing is that if you don't join, your club will probably die out. This is true. This is the sad part, the sad fact that if these clubs are now being forced to join. You've had all these big clubs mug them off, and now they're being forced to like actually join by not by choosing to, but by being forced into this. If you don't like, we get to find a new club shop. I'm just gonna guys, we will obviously be continuing, but until we hear more about the Super League, we will be doing some cricket. We're going to start bringing cricket onto the channel. Going to start bringing rugby when the rugby season starts onto the channel. Yeah, we're going to start doing a bit more of cricket, a bit more of rugby. You know, the clubs in the Super League need a rebrand. I think that's what do you guys think? Do you think that the clubs in the Super League need a rebrand? Arsenal become London Reds. Spurs become London White. What do we think of that? Do we agree, disagree? Like, I'm all up for this. I just think we have got Rang. How are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Not so bad.
Tell me your thoughts on the how you're finding this.
Well, I don't get the point, to be honest, because these clubs are already getting a lot of money. Why do you need extra 3.5 billion, whatever it is?
Yeah. No, I agree. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about the fact that Mourinho's been kind of used as a scapegoat to kind of take the pressure of the fact that Spurs have joined the Super League?
Yeah, that was not going to work anyways. I mean, it was going to distract us for like 2 minutes.
I agree. I know some Spurs fans that are very happy about it, but unfortunately, this Super League, if it carries ahead, like it is going to ruin. What about the
I'll
teams
be
left
honest.
behind?
At first, sorry,
What about the teams left behind? Like, what happens to them?
but to be honest, I love the idea. But after the Premier League and the UEFA came in, like, you won't be able to compete in the Premier League. I was like, no. Because they'll be killing the tradition, to be honest.
It's just sad that it's kind of got to this. All right. My question is, did UEFA and the FA get did someone give them a heads up? Because I don't think they did.
I don't think so.
The way they were acting.
Eventually, they might take a bite, you know. These guys might just offer them money as well.
Well, I'm thinking if all the big money clubs leave, they will have to join at some point or have to agree something. But that's not the point. Like, we shouldn't have to be kind of given the ultimatum to get to that point. Which is sad, to be honest, that that UEFA and the FA are being given ultimatums just so they can have the teams back in. Yeah, I'm really not happy with my club for even agreeing to this. I think it's absolutely
disgusting. And the timing is bad for us as Chelsea fans. Our team was doing great. FA Cup final,
literally.
UEFA Champions League.
I've said this, like, we were going to be playing Real Madrid for the first time in a long time. And then all of a sudden we're going to be playing them every week. That takes away the spoils of, especially with the Champions League, the FA Cup. You got to play different teams in different leagues, and that made it exciting and different. Like, I mean, it's just not like we played Barnsley this season. Like, you've had Colchester play. Like, it's teams from everywhere. And, you know, it's sad to see that they won't get this kind of, because that was their kind of like little bit of excitement when you got like a Premier League team come to your like League One team.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm disappointed with Chelsea, to be honest. But we're doing well. Now it spoils everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're in an FA Cup final, which now we don't know if we actually are anymore. We were in a Champions League semi-final, and all of that has just been mugged off, to be honest. It's very disappointing.
Let's hope it doesn't get to the players' heads, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I know that Andrea Herrera has been one of the first to speak out on.
I saw that one as well.
First to speak out on the fact that he does not approve of this, guys. I'm going to get you the. I'm going to get you the statement he posted because he has actually been one of the first to. He says, "I fell in love with popular football, with football of the fans. I love football with all my heart, but I really cannot stay silent about this. A Super League containing Spurs. Is someone taking the piss here? And don't get me started on Arsenal. The only thing super about that club is that funny little dinosaur lad. I wonder where he gets his boots from. Are they handmade? Probably. Must be a size 17 or something, lol. Sorry, I disagree against modern football. The Super League is a load of shite. but fair fucks for getting Phil Jones to decide the logo. Really nice touch. So obviously he's not happy at all. He's just not happy at all. If the European Super League advances, those dreams are over. The teams that are not giants of being able to win on the field in the competition will end, and that's a fair point because small teams are going to be affected. People that aren't invited to this are going to be affected.
Exactly.
And it's how do you recover from that? How do you?
It's going to mess up the traditions and the history of these clubs as well. The competitions.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hard one to do. Is that how do you fix something you've absolutely destroyed? It's a real hard one, to be honest.
But like I was saying before, how come FIFA have no say on this one? They can just say, we don't care about your money. We run football. We don't want this league. Simple.
Yeah, so obviously Thomas Tuchel had a press conference this afternoon. And he says, in a response to a number of questions on the subject, Tuchel made it clear his target is on keeping his players focused on the job at hand in the short term, starting with the visit of Brighton. I have known about it since yesterday, confirmed the boss. I'm here to be in the hardest competitions, play the toughest competition in Europe. That's what I love, and that's why I am at Chelsea. I am part of this club. I want to play these hard competitions, and I trust my club to make the right decisions. It's too early to judge everything. On my Chelsea badge, it says I have to play my role, and everybody has to play their role. My role is to be a coach and be focused. We have an important game coming up tomorrow. There are a lot of comments, arguments, and opinions out there. I absolutely don't want to get involved in it because I don't know the details. I don't think coming across from it that Tuchel was given a heads up, and maybe we need to take a step back and be like, how many of the managers were actually given a heads up? Got Velvashwan as well. What are your thoughts on this?
What, the Super League or Jose sacked?
Both.
Well, the Super League's ridiculous. Like, it's just ruined football. Like, wow, I ruled the FSG out like time ago, but this like cements it. Like, if you're not FSG out, I don't know what's your problem. And you got like Roman Abramovich, the City owner, wanted to be part of this. I'm like, why? Like, this is ruining football. Like, you got teams that like West Ham and Leicester who are fighting for Europe and they can't get in because you're not a big club. That's actually disrespectful to them and to the lower teams that can't afford money to like, because they're dreaming about, I want to play in the top league, play Champions League with the likes of Real Madrid and them, man, but they can't anymore because of this stupid thing that our owners came up with. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no. Oh wow, this is interesting. UEFA president Alessandra Safin says, I was naive. We didn't know we had snakes working close to us. Wow. People, UEFA are fuming. But I think UEFA, if you take it back from the anger, UEFA are more angry that they haven't had a heads up. I think that is what it comes down to, is that there was no heads up for them. I think the disrespect there as well, like the fact that you couldn't give them a heads up. It blows my mind. And it's literally blown up everywhere. Like, people are fuming.
People went outside Anfield just to put banners up like no to the Super League and rest in peace to Liverpool Football Club, because it's now gone. They just ruined it. They destroyed the history and destroyed everything.
And I'm pretty sure managers won't say anything against it as well at the meantime.
No, Klopp said in 2019 that he doesn't want a Super League. He said the Champions League is the Super League and it's ridiculous if anyone wants to do that.
Yeah,
and I feel like he might be gone, Jurgen Klopp.
Did
Yeah,
did
so because
Vieira predict
obviously,
this, or you give them the idea?
yeah,
No,
no,
because they planned this.
obviously, Velv, you're a Liverpool fan. How are you kind of feeling about your team joining?
No, I'm absolutely disgusted. Like these American owners, like they just want money, and I'm sick. I'm tired of it. Like you didn't even want to help Klopp in rebuilding a team to help us retain the title. Now you just want to destroy this club. You destroyed You Never Walk Alone, which is a symbol of our club. It's not like a brand deal or anything. You actually destroyed it, and now we're just
Yeah,
going to the Super League, and like this season we don't even deserve it. Like we're finishing fifth, and West Ham and Leicester are fighting it, and they probably deserve it over us. I don't even know how Spurs and Arsenal are even involved with this. Like
yeah,
they
I
haven't
have to
even
agree.
City, they haven't even won the Champions League, and they're still in this. Like it's ridiculous.
No, I absolutely agree. It is ridiculous at the fact that we're having a discussion at playing. Like, how do Arsenal and Spurs think this is, and I'm not being horrible, but how do Arsenal and Spurs think this is going to benefit them? Like, they're struggling to beat teams like in the bottom six of the Premier League. So how are they going to be beating some of the greatest clubs in the world? It's
And the
literally
worst
going
thing,
to be Spurs and Arsenal at the bottom of the league.
they can't even get
Like,
relegated. That's the worst thing. Like they'll still be in the Super League every year. It's like it's ridiculous.
yeah, no, I agree. It's absolutely ridiculous. The fact that we're even having to have a discussion about Arsenal and Spurs with this kind of like conversation. It's sad to see. It really is. It's not a fun one, to be honest.
I'm still not sure
At
about
least,
the Jose. Like if he did it, if he was sacked because he was helping, he wasn't training the players or something like that. I'm not
yeah.
sure.
I know. I want to kind of hear the kind of because I feel like Jose's been kind of used as a scapegoat to kind of fuel this kind of take the if they thought if they took the heat of Spurs joining, they just threw Jose under the bus. Yes, Jose probably needed to get sacked from Spurs, but it's convenient at the time when they need a distraction, like really convenient, but it hasn't actually worked because people are still fuming at this whole situation. What are you guys' thoughts, Andrew, Brian? How are you guys feeling? Like,
did you just read UEFA say they didn't know they had snakes?
yeah. So
UEFA said that.
The president of UEFA.
UEFA's a joke. They still don't understand they're a joke. They released this UEFA Champions League thing today as well. They're a joke.
Here, literally, there you go.
They're a joke. They're a joke. How can they say snakes? They've taken like weeks and months to come out with stuff about racism and come out of an hour last night to do this to condemn this European Super League. They're a joke. They still don't understand. This is a massive power play because of the UEFA Champions League, how it's been banned. This is all this is. This is a power play. You can tell because the guy, they still say, all the clubs into this still say they want to play domestic leagues, they want to do this and that, right? So this isn't about exiting the Premier League or anything like that at all. This is about going up against UEFA. This is about Champions League, how it's run. UEFA still don't get it. That's why they released this new UEFA Champions League concept of 36 teams today. They still don't get it. They've released it today like it's nothing. Like yesterday, like nothing happened. They just don't get it. They've never got it. That guy, UEFA president, they've got snakes. You're a snake. You run the board like a snake. Your decisions are snake-like. They don't get it at all. Listen, like I said, this is a massive power play. It's who blinks first. And don't forget how powerful the TV companies are as well. The TV companies will have a massive say in this as well. Because if you think if anyone really thinks that Sky and BT are not gonna discuss this with the Premier League, going, your six biggest clubs can't play next season, and we're going to pay you the amount we're going to pay you for the next TV deal, you're massively mistaken. So,
yeah, exactly. Like the Premier League, like this is the problem where it comes to complications. I understand why UEFA are pissed; they haven't really had a heads up. But Premier League can't lose their 6 biggest teams. Brian, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's really disappointing. I mean, you know, it's a shame being an American and watching American owners kind of just try to destroy the game in the name of money in a lot of ways. You know, it's such a watch. I've been a Manchester United fan for like over a decade, and I've had the privilege of being able to go to Old Trafford and watch Manchester United play. I love the club. I love the club for what it stands for and for what it's represented and for how it was built over the years. And of course, like Ferguson running it and things were just like icing on the cake for me. But I've still been following Manchester United really closely, despite its struggles and difficulties in rebuilding over the years. It's not been an issue for me, but to see the club just prioritize money over fair competition, to see the club prioritize money over not just money, but to prioritize money and try to exercise this idea that they have a God-given right to be in a competition, that you have to earn your way in, that, you know, teams like Leicester have earned their way to be a part of in the past. You know, teams like, teams like we look like at historically, that like Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest and Leeds have all been a part of this competition because they've earned the right to be there. It's a shame. And I'll say, like, to a degree, like, shame on the fans for backing that mentality for so long, right? Shame on the fans of clubs like Arsenal and Manchester United and Chelsea for acting as if we do have a God-given right to be in a competition that we have to earn our way to be a part of, you know, because that is exactly the reason that Kroenke has made a decision to be a part of the league as the owner of Arsenal, because they can't get into the Champions League because they're not good enough to do it via the Premier League anymore. So let's just bypass all that, use our status as a global footballing brand and bypass all of that and get to be a part of a league that we can get more money from teams who are going to be in the Champions League. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that Manchester United is doing. It's really sad. It's the same thing that Liverpool's doing, you know, and it just hurts. It hurts to see that, you know, rivalries and stuff aside. It's a shame to see rivalries and stuff aside. It's a shame to see clubs like Liverpool and Manchester United, clubs that are built on the people, clubs that were built by workers in those areas, to then look beyond that, to forget their history and only focus on the money that sits in their banks that's attached to their name now, and say, because of this, we can do whatever we want, however we want, regardless of how we got here in the first place. It's an absolute joke, and it's a disgrace. And I've never been more disappointed in my life than in Manchester United than I am right now.
You see, I don't think an announcement of the European Super League is shocking to anyone.
No.
What is shocking, and more importantly, disappointment, is the timing of it. The timing of this is appalling, right? The timing of it is basically it's taken a massive shine off the end of the season, right? For some clubs, yeah, it's taken a massive shine. Like my club, you know, I go from we playing Real Madrid for the first time in the European Cup, right? Real Madrid. Okay, so under these circumstances, we're not going to pay the Bernabeu fine. And then I go from reading that I might be playing them regularly for the next few years, and it just becomes a regular fixture. It's just mad. And then what is the point now of if this goes through? It just takes, this Liverpool's got a game tonight, right, against Leeds. It's taken a massive shine off that, right? All this is covering it. This is what no one's going to talk about anything else apart from this for the next week or 10 days or so. It's just they've just taken the joy out of the Premier League, out of the end of the season. It's just it just won't feel the same.
We're also going to have some struggles to keep players.
Yeah.
Because if UEFA and are potentially like fighting really hard to ban players who are involved in the Super League to participate in the Euros and the World Cup, players aren't going to want to be a part of those clubs. Like players aren't going to be one. I just read something a second ago that Bruno Fernandes potentially said that he would be leaving the club if they go forward with the Super League because he can't play for Portugal.
Yeah, but this is my point. People are actually we always say people choose between club and country, and we always say club and country, but players are actually being made to choose between club and country. There isn't there's no middle line. And with the countries can do what they want. If they don't want them to play in the Super League and they're not allowed to play in the country, they're going to choose their country. Well, I would hope they choose their country. But I just don't understand how Arsenal and Spurs, and I'm really sorry to say this, have actually made the Super League. I'm not being horrible, but they have no Champions League.
I know.
But the only reason is because they're getting paid so much money. So maybe players will actually go. They think in their heads, how Kroenke thinks is that Daniel Levy are like, we'll get players. We've got enough money to buy players. But no one wants to play for your team if they can't play for their country. Premier League is one of the most prestigious, England, it's one of the longest reigning titles in football. Everybody knows it. Ronaldo came to play for it. People come to us to play for the Premier League. It's a title people want to have on their belts. And the fact that we're disrespecting it like this actually is frustrating and upsetting, to be honest.
Yeah, and the frustrating part is, the footballing pyramid is like you said, it's revered around the world. Everybody looks to England and their structuring of competitions and the levels at which you can play and how you if you go about it the right way and if you earn it by performing well on the pitch, you can be in the Premier League. There's nothing holding you back from doing that. There's nothing holding you back from winning anything in England. And so the fair competition there is something that half of the joy of the FA Cup exists by watching teams in lower divisions go up against the very best of the best because they've earned the right to be in those competitions and play at those levels. And I think that for so many people to look at this now, this is just a slap in the face of fair competition, and it's just a slap in the face of fair competition, and just all you're doing is you're just saying, look at how much money we have, look at our facilities, look at how much money we have, look at our facilities, look at the reach we have around the world. That alone should put us in a category that allows us to play with people that other teams don't have access to be able to do. So
yeah.
It's a shame. So we can say stuff about Arsenal and Spurs, but the reality is Arsenal is one of the biggest clubs in the world, regardless of how they perform in the Premier League, and Spurs has one of the most magnificent stadiums of the modern era right now. And so, and over the past 5 or so years, they've grown into being one of the top 15 richest clubs in the world. So of course they're going to be a part of it, but it's just a shame.
They've only done that, Spurs, because this Super League thing was a thing about 10 or so years ago. So Levy planned to have things in place so Spurs could be part of it, which, to be fair on his part, is actually quite smart.
Yeah, it is.
Apparently, there's a Spurs fan outside the training centre saying no to the Super League.
That's going to make a
We're just
difference.
Yeah, that's already won.
all these protests is not going to make any single difference whatsoever. So.
I'd just like to clarify. I've just seen, obviously on Sky Sports, they've got a guy outside the Tottenham training ground, and there's one solo Spurs fan that's turned up to protest.
Exactly.
Just the one.
Just one.
I obviously know there is a protest going on outside Chelsea later on. Look, I mean, as long as it's peaceful, I have no issues with that.
The problem is no one's there.
Exactly. Yeah, no, it is. As long as it's peaceful, I have no issues. If it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel better, absolutely. But as long as it's peaceful, I'm quite happy.
Yeah.
You know, I just think it's UEFA announces new Champions League formats.
Joke, absolute joke. They've got one of the biggest ever problems, and they announced a revamp of the UEFA Champions League.
Yeah, Lanzi says if you need a protester running onto the pitch kicking corner flag, give West Ham a call.
I mean, the question that I have right now is, I mean, where are the players? Like this is like that's the reality. Like where,
because they've just said
where are the players?
They've just said that any player in the Super League will now not be playing in the Euro 2020s.
Well, I need some of the players. Like what the fans need are some of the players to.
The England team would just be full of Burnley players.
Yeah, I just think this is. I think it's just what UEFA aren't doing themselves any justice either, to be honest.
No, they're behaving like a petulant child at the moment.
The only player that I've seen so far that has actually said anything is Ander Herrera. He's the only player that I've seen so far that's actually come out.
Not big enough name though, is it, Brian? It's not
Ander Herrera, Mesut Ozil, Dejan
Özil. Yeah,
it's not a big enough player to make an impact. You know what I mean?
I think every single player that's in a Big Six team, because obviously Tuchel did his press conference today, and he basically said that he had not found out about it till last night. So my issue is if Tuchel's finding out about it if managers are only finding out about it yesterday, did the players find out at the same time? No one was given a heads up, and it's just like you haven't consulted with these players, you haven't consulted with this manager. Like,
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think that again, players and managers knew something like this would happen, but the fact that it came out yesterday is probably what the big surprise is.
Yeah,
because weren't you? Because we all knew for quite a few years there was rumors of this supposed Super League happening, and a few managers have even spoken about it. Tuchel, I think, at PSG spoke about it, and he said he wouldn't mind being part of it because PSG is assumed they would be in it. I think PSG, the only reason why they're not is because of Qatar and Qatar hosting the World Cup. So once the World Cup is done, there's no reason why they won't be added to it. The likes of Bayern Munich and Leipzig, it's because of the way Germany have run their clubs. The fans have to have the majority. So Leipzig in the next few years,
of it,
they can figure. Yeah, so if Leipzig can figure out a way around that, there's no reason why they're not going to be in the Super League. So it's just like money and stuff, and I'm against it from the way they're trying to do it, but in terms of having some sort of a Super League or competition like that, I wouldn't necessarily mind because there is a logical way to do it. But the way they're going about it is
Yeah.
just way too selfish. And it's just not caring about fans at all, which, to be fair, people are saying now football's dead. The love of the game has been dead for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And
Lamb.
to be honest, I was gonna say one thing. We're fortunate enough to see like Leicester winning the league, and a bit of the magic happened. All I'm
Yeah.
gonna say is that it's all a business now. The rivalry, all that's all fake, man. Because they all get behind together. United owner, Liverpool owner, they all get behind together. They just discuss the Super League. Why do you think Spurs spent $1 billion on a stadium? Why do you think Stan wasn't bothered about where Arsenal's position was? It's because they knew the Super League was coming.
Yeah. Lambs, your face is a picture. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm quite fuming, to be honest. I barely basically slept today because of the news that's just been coming in from like last night as well. I was on the Midnight Vibe show. Like our Midnight Vibe show wasn't even supposed to be as it was, you know. Prime knows because Prime came on as well, because this news pretty much just kind of like took over the show because it was so vital. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'm still in shock. Like I'm still fuming. I'm still livid because this is elitism at its finest. This is capitalist elitism at its absolute finest. I mean, and teams like Leicester, teams like West Ham, teams like Everton, rightly so, and even Leeds should be pissed off, should be fuming. And I agree with that because it basically shits on the whole idea of meritocracy, the whole concept that, you know, somebody could work from, say, a League One side into the Championship, get promoted into the Premier League, and possibly even go on to win the Premier League, you know, to be in with a chance of competing with those big teams. You know, that's the dream, that's the idea. You know, Leicester, little old Leicester, about, you know, less than a decade ago, they were non-existent. Who even knew who Leicester were? And now these guys
6 years
are out
ago they
here.
were relegated.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And now they're out here, like Leicester, generating international fans because of the hard work, the way the club has been run so well. It's not even to do with like high investments and throwing money left, right, and center. Like rightly so, they're reaping the rewards of their smart financial investments. You know, the way the club has been run so well, and they've done so well as a result of it. You know, teams like West Ham, who were almost relegated last year, and now are in with a chance of fighting for top four place. And it makes me sick. It annoys me so much when you see teams like Arsenal, like Manchester United, like Tottenham, with these American owners who have been taking money out of their club for years, watching the structure just literally capitulate year after year, selling off their best players, being stupid in the transfer windows, firing managers left, right, and center, just not even caring about how the club is running. You can see it in their league standings and their accolades and how much these teams have won, or you could say not even really won in the last like 10 years or so, because of how far the standards have fallen. And teams like West Ham, teams like Leicester, teams like Everton, who've worked hard, who've invested, their owners and their board actually care about the club. They want to get into that competitive, they want to get to that competitive edge. And in some cases, some of these teams have overtaken them, and it's disgusting. It's ridiculous. Like Leicester, in terms of accolades, are a bigger team than Tottenham, because Tottenham generate more revenue. It's just like, fine, I'm going to buy myself financial security. It is just disgusting. And it makes me sick that like my team, Chelsea, is a part of it. Teams like Chelsea, teams like City, teams like PSG, who have the money, the influence and the power to band together and fight this and be like, no, we are relevant enough to know that this is important. We need this. And the fact that they're choosing to come out with this news at a time where we're in a pandemic, we're in a lockdown, fans aren't even allowed in the stadium, so fans can't even really like be out here properly trying to protest this and being like, what the fuck are you doing? Because what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that's one of the things we have to remember too, that this isn't just American owners that are doing it. I mean, Chelsea's owner is doing it. The owner of PSG is doing it. The Manchester City owners are doing it. Like, this isn't just an American bought or American like push thing. This is people who have
I
money
really
and
get
influence.
that, but the thing
Yeah.
is, these teams stand alone. They're doing okay. They don't actually really need this. Like, they're as far as they're concerned, they're in a great position. But it is these American owners who own these clubs, and because collectively they've not been willing to invest in this club, they've come up with this concept and pushed this idea onto these owners. Hey, look, I know you guys already have money, but this is a way to make you even more money, and for them to secure their financial interests, their agendas as well, because they know that's going to benefit them. Fine, we don't need to be investing. We don't need to be investing money in improving this squad, improving this club, trying to go on a competitive level. Because at the end of the day, we're going to come up with an idea, with a concept that's going to make us so much money and guarantee our status. Yeah, and the fact that they're hanging on to accolades from more than 10 years ago, which is absolutely disgusting. The fact that you don't even.
I disagree. I'm not gonna sit here and make this an Americans versus the world thing, because the reality is it's not. People need to be held to their own decisions and their own willingness to make choices. So like, I don't give a rip where you're from. I don't care. You gotta let me finish, because if like people who have money want to make money, and your nationality is like, it's not a part of the equation. So like, you can come up with an idea if you're an American, if you want, but if you're Russian or you're Saudi, and you look at this and you're presented with the idea, you deciding whether or not you're going to be a part of that is on you. It's not on the people who present the idea. So like,
I'm disgusted with my club, rightly so.
Sure, yeah.
No, but you know, it's like a lot of the time they've done it now because it's a pandemic, financial crisis, and this is like the time where, look, Tottenham, they got stadium debt. They want to keep Harry Kane. How are they going to do it if they don't get UCL? If they're presented with the Super League, all their problems are answered. They pay off the debt with the money, and they keep Harry Kane because it's a high competition. And if you start to, let's say, pick up one by one teams, eventually you have a monopoly to say that like any other teams that stay will get less money and the other teams will get richer. And you got to think of it like that. Like, some clubs are saying to themselves, we don't want to get left behind. We don't want to like fall down the pecking order. We want to stay as the European elites. So all I'm going to say, bro, it's a perfect time for them. And you know what the funny thing is, right? I actually blame UEFA and blame Premier League for this, because
as you should,
they promoted Premier League worldwide, and it skyrocketed to the point, right, where BT, Sky Sports, all these lot start taking everything and putting the prices up. UEFA tried to be corrupt with FFP, make Big Six and make all the big teams remain big, and it's backfired on them. Now UEFA, the only reason why they're saying, oh, you're getting banned because of this, is because they feel threatened, because all the big teams are theirs and someone else is coming to take all the monopoly. It's literally billionaire versus billionaire. This battle is basically Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. No one's going to win. Doesn't matter what side you pick.
I mean, the reality of it all is, I mean, it stinks, but we also, I think Prime was absolutely right earlier when he said, like, I don't think any of us are against money in the game. I don't think any of us are against money in the game, especially people who are fans of teams in the Big Six. You shouldn't be against money in the game, because your team wouldn't have a lot of the success it does today were it not for money being a part of the game. But at the same time, you have to it's when money starts
Do you know
being
what it is, right?
primary. It's when money starts being the primary motivator for decisions
Oh,
being made, and
yeah.
not the fans, not the
That's,
fans, not the
that's
board.
I agree with you.
That's exactly what this is, though, Brian. This is a massive FU to the fans, basically. You don't matter, because at the end of the day, this is what this country, the United Kingdom, thrives on. You know, these big teams going to a Sheffield United, going down to Burnley, going down to Brighton, like the revenue, what it does for the economy, the businesses around there as well, to have these fans coming in. Do you know what I mean? Like it does a lot, and what it's going to take away from this country. Do you know what I mean? When you're out here having to play, I don't know, Real Madrid, PSG, you know, it may start off in the European countries, but even then, who's going to be able to afford to be flying out to Real Madrid over the weekend? Like a certain niche of people, do you know what I mean? And very soon we'll be having like cup finals, tournaments being played in, like, I don't know, Singapore, Washington, Australia, like, and it's just it takes away from the fact that, but how is Chelsea, who's located, their home ground is located in West London, playing all of these games basically everywhere except for their actual home club? And this is literally where it's going to start going, where only certain types of people are going to be able to afford to go to these games. It's basically an elite members club, and we decide who's invited. Like, we're forming this big club. You can watch us, you can support us, you can inject money into us, but we decide who's invited. You're not invited to the party.
And you is right. I was going to say.
Let me just get my say, Hassan, because I'm. Listen, I've been thinking about this, right? And honestly, it did feel very painful yesterday. It felt like a very weird time, yeah. But I've had time to think about this, and you know what? One thing I have realized from this is that, first of all, we have to start by saying that UEFA and FIFA, they're not our allies, man. They're not our allies. I'm sorry. Like, listen, everything you said, Lambs, about monetizing the game, yeah, making it inaccessible for the likes of us and the likes of the working class fan, they've been doing that for a while, Lambs. They've been doing that for a while. Listen, when they sat there in the pandemic, yeah, and charged us £15 for a pay-per-view, yeah, when we couldn't access the games.
I remember that.
Listen, when the 3 o'clock games, when 3 to 5:30, they're not showing the games, yeah, because they want us to pay and go buy the ticket. That's what, £75, £85. They've been doing this to us for a while, man. I'll be honest with you.
I agree. UEFA, BT, Sky Sports, they're all
Lambs, the only reason they're banning them is because they thought of that first. It's because the top 6 clubs, they thought of it first. They're the ones that made the first move, and UEFA are not happy about it. I'm telling you. Listen, the capitalists in this circumstance, they got out capitalized. That's all that's happened.
I agree.
Wait, let me finish. The thing is, my problem with this is that they're the ones that are banning them from league competitions. They're the ones that don't want to compromise. I'm sorry, I'm not backing this thing at all. Yeah, I'm not backing it. But for me, they're not the ones taking away the league competition. It's not the clubs. I'm sorry. I understand the monetization of the game is different. It's very difficult to accept. But I'm not gonna lie to you. If this was something in the midweek, I would learn to accept it, because it's still big competition. It's still, it's still the highest level of the game. But the leagues are not being taken away by our clubs, guys. We have to realize this. It's not the clubs. We have to be looking at the governing bodies, man. They're not happy that's happening literally under their nose. It happened under their nose. It's their fault, man. But yeah, that's my say, man. I've been thinking about this.
I mean, the monetization of the game is not the issue. It's like not necessarily like money being in the game is not the biggest problem. That's not the issue right now.
It's an issue because of.
It's not an issue, but it's not an issue.
Because of where the money goes. It's a huge issue. It's not going to get filtered down. It's not going to get filtered down
because
it is a huge issue.
Can we hear what Brian has to say?
Let him say what he says. Then
literally, I'm just trying to share something. Like. If money in football is the biggest problem, then half of the big 6 clubs wouldn't have fans because they wouldn't support them because they don't have success. Like that's a reality of a lot of, like, people can say, well, you're either a fan because you live in the area or your parents were fans, but the majority of the fans for the Big Six clubs in the Premier League especially have nothing to do with either of those two markers. So that can't be what we judge those things on. People become fans of teams in sports, period, because of success, primarily more than allegiance in any other ways. So like having money being not a motivator, but having money being a way that teams grow has always been there, especially for teams like Chelsea, like Manchester United, like Manchester City, like Liverpool. Like that's just been a reality of those teams. It's a part of their journeys.
I agree.
We can't sit there and act as if all of a sudden now this is an issue when we as fans have been lauding the success of those teams over the years.
That's true.
Because
I agree.
Let him finish, Brian. Let me finish 1 sec.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's hypocritical for us as fans to only get upset with money being in football when the money in football has led to something like this, but we have had no issues with it when the money in football have bought us 60 million players for our teams. It's ridiculous for us to even say that. And that's all I'm saying. So Lambs, I agree with you when you say like where the money's going is the bigger problem. If the money goes to improving the clubs based on players, based on facilities, all of these different things that are going to improve the club that way, because that's ultimately going to be a product of something that the fans want to see, and not to create some like gentleman's club league out there with like 6 or 10 teams that can only afford to be in it, then that's one thing.
I guess that was pretty much kind of like my point. It's where the kind of money is going to go to. Like you said, is it going to start? Are they going to invest the money in making these events, these games more accessible for more fans, like as well as like local fans, but as well as like worldwide fans? Or are they just going to keep bumping up the price and stuff to make it more and more and more difficult to access? And that's the question. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't forget though, with this thingy, like no one would have an issue if that Super League was like a Champions League revamp. It was like if it was like a competition where different teams could get in, whether it be through top 4, etc. But this team, like the issue is like we're gonna have special privilege if we go. Like we could finish 20th, but there's no reason because we're still there. We're not gonna get relegated. We're immune to it.
But we're never in a threat to get relegated, though. That's the truth. As a big club,
Yeah,
we're never
exactly.
in a threat to get relegated.
No, but I'm saying, what's the point
Why
being
is that
that
an issue?
competition? What's the point being that competition if, let's say, it's only one trophy? If there's no
that's the Champions
competition,
League, though,
It's not about
That's the Champions
competition.
League.
It's about money.
Basically, yeah. I was just going to say that it's not about the competition, because by doing this, you take away the competition element. Because why do you need to try? Your wages are secure, sponsorship deals are secure, the money's coming through, and you're never going to get relegated. So you're chilling. You don't need to try.
No, but Lambs, what I don't understand is why is this an issue to us big clubs? That's the issue. I'm very like careful about the way I speak about this, because Brian's point is brilliant, man. Like we talk about money, yeah. But we support a top 6 club. I support Chelsea, for heaven's sake. Like I'm not going to complain about the money now. Do you know what I mean? Like why?
Yeah, but I suppose the beauty of the games lens is that a big team like Chelsea, or like you said, a top team like Manchester City, like these big teams, these elite teams, even your PSGs, your Bayern Munich, they can lose to like a newly promoted team or something in the league.
Yeah.
Like that's
Exactly.
the beauty of the game. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Team
but
like
Lambs,
Leicester can get
can I just
promoted
say-
and win the league the next
Yeah,
season.
fair enough.
That's the beauty
Fair
of the game.
But
Do you know
Lance,
what I mean?
can I just say, do you think the Super League has come? Like, do you think their plans has come, as a way to replace the Premier League? Because that's what we need to establish.
No.
It
hasn't.
European
Champions League.
It's
Yeah.
really
Replace the
still
Champions League.
unclear at this point. It's really still
No,
unclear.
It's
but
always clear what they
they
want.
said it hasn't.
Because like you said, because literally like you guys said, there's just so many power plays going on right now. So the motives and what is like, okay, so if this happens, then that means this is still happening, but the teams involved have like there's still so much going on.
It's a
So
direct-
it's unclear whether this is going to be a replacement or it's going to be an addition. We still don't know.
It's a
And I
direct
guess
Can I
threat.
just say something?
that's
Wait,
an
yeah,
issue.
Rachel hasn't spoken yet.
Sorry.
Mm.
I think UEFA are to blame for this
Of course, they are.
because what
FFP.
UEFA have done, yeah, they've gone. They're corrupt. We all know that. FIFA as well. There's been scandal after scandal. There's been failure of certain regimes, and this whole, even their plans to reformat the Champions League this season has been, they want to put top 6 teams in there, right? They want to. So the way they're sort of trying to revamp the Champions League, I'm sorry, but I think we can all agree that having top 6 teams in the Champions League is a joke. Anyway, so what I would say about the Super League is, if it's there to replace the Champions League, like replace the UEFA
Then Arsenal should be there.
competitions. But either way, if they're there to just replace those competitions, I'm for it. However, what I don't like is the segregation of big teams from their domestic leagues. That's what I don't like. I don't like
And
that.
do you know one thing, right? This is what concerns me as well. Like, I know we're part of it, but we're all potentially all the Big 12 clubs are basically be like Bayern Munich. So let's say we see a talent from a player's ours. What's the player gonna say? No, I don't want to play in the Super League. I don't want to play against the big teams, the best of the best.
This is what I'm saying. Like the
Exactly.
idea,
We can pick anyone we want with this
smaller
enough.
teams. The idea that these smaller teams can try and like get up there eventually, work hard, invest over the years, you know, employ people, run the club properly, and try and reach that level is going. I also agree with Rachel on the point where like the exclusion from the domestic league, the Premier League, is like crazy. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see my team be playing top teams every single week. Like, that's going to annoy me. Like, you know what I mean? I want to see us go and play Fulham. I want to see us go face Palace, you know? I want to see us face a West Ham, Everton, Leeds, etc. Do you know, that's the beauty of the game. The fact that you can go into these games thinking, oh my god, like we should be winning this game, but be shocked if like Leeds turn around and slap you like 5-1.
I just want to go on something that you guys haven't gone on. The reason Sky Sports are moaning about this Super League thing is because they know they won't get any broadcasting rights to cover this. They're scared.
Exactly.
Rupert Murdoch and his business are scared. BT Sport included are scared that they sent billions of pounds to this broadcasting rights, and now they're panicking for the good of football. Excuse me, like I said also over social media, weren't you charging us £15 to watch Burnley during the season?
Yeah, they were.
You can't switch up like that. You just can't switch up like that.
But Sam, the reason I don't believe Premier League will get rid of the top 6 is because of the TV companies.
Yeah,
Do you know what it is, Andrew? Can I say something? Yeah, you know what? Like, number one, I want to point something out. Yeah, that you watching YouTube is so important in a time like this because we have no agenda. We are fans, right? We're ordinary fans, and we'll say it how it is. I'm not going to listen to Sky. Listen, Premier League yesterday, they put out a statement, or was it UEFA, about they're killing the sport, the sport that we love. Please, man, I don't want to hear it. Please, you've been doing that for decades, man. You have been doing it for decades. When you're charging the working class man over £80 for TV subscriptions, yeah, I will never listen. That pay-per-view, that whole scheme, it's a literal disgrace. Yeah? Or it's a spit in the face. I swear, I will never forget it, man. What these guys have done to us, that speaks volumes, man. And I keep saying this. Wait, let me finish. Let me finish, Samuel. The thing is, yeah, like even listening to Sky, even listening to Gary Neville. All right, Gary Neville went off, and he was saying some good points. But even him, the broadcast he's in, that he's saying this messaging, I'm sorry, he's a hypocrite as well, man. He's a hypocrite as well. Like, everyone's got a horse in this game, man, and we're not the ones that they worry about. We're in a tug of war between UEFA, FIFA, and those clubs. That's all it is, man. That's all it is.
So there's this comment over here that says they're trying to get Disney to get the broadcasting rights. Imagine watching Hannah Montana before an Arsenal game.
I'm up for that. I'm up for that. That's how, that would save it for me. That would save it, to be honest.
Also on that with BT Sport, okay, Champions League used to be on free television. Literally anyone could watch Champions League football as long as they had a simple £1 TV license. They could watch it. BT Sport came in, put a bigger offer, and stopped the normal, like you said, working class, lower class people from watching Champions League football. They took it from them. I couldn't watch. I was subscribed to BT. I missed 1 year of Champions League football. Literally, everyone, people still to this day can't watch Champions League football due to BT. Yeah. And now they want to claim cozy up, saying, "Oh no, you know, it's the 50th game." Take a look at yourselves because they bought this on themselves. This was 7 years, 10 years, even 10 years in the making. This.
I remember when they actually used to show Champions League games on ITV as well. Like, and I was just like, wow.
That was the best Champions League era.
It was.
They've ruined the Champions League, honestly. The way it's done now, and then they've got the Europa League, which is a joke anyway. And then they've got this conference league as well. I mean, no, sorry, I can't sit here. And
Oh, they still do the conference.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are still doing it.
Guys, they released a new format for the UCL, by the way. Did you guys see it? And
they're
identical to the
they're
Swiss League. That's what I'm saying.
model,
That's
the Swiss
what I'm
model.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. So they
I
just
also-
didn't get to it first. Sorry,
I
go
also
on.
no. I just was thinking like I do wonder, and this is just the way my brain works. I wonder to a degree how much like responsibility we as fans should take, if any, for how this has come about, especially fans of the Premier League, because just hear me out for a second. Like I remember when fans of the Bundesliga would protest when games were trying to be put on a Monday because they were working and couldn't attend games. I remember when fans went crazy when Red Bull bought a team in Germany, and they became like one of the biggest like pariahs in that country because of money coming into the game in that country. But that didn't exist when the Glazers bought Manchester United to that degree. It didn't exist when Abramovich bought Chelsea. It didn't exist when the Saudis bought Manchester City. Like everybody just let it happen. Like nobody was upset about it to like a large degree, because I think we value success and winning trophies and being the best over the beauty of the game. And I think that to an extent, maybe we as fans need to look at ourselves and be like, have we allowed ourselves to a degree, especially we're fans of the top six, to be wrapped up in what we knew money could provide us as fans? And that's like higher league positions, better players, bigger competitions. And this is what we're arguing against. And this is what this has become a product of. The Super League is a product of that.
Ryan,
we've been pushing that way for a while now.
Shall I tell you something as well? Do you remember last year when the Saudi takeover of Newcastle was going to happen? They put a deposit in, but everyone in the league knew, the insiders knew this was never going to happen, because the top six control literally everything in the league. They blocked the Newcastle takeover because they didn't want any more competition in this league. That's the reason Newcastle takeover was blocked. They don't want any more competition. They're afraid of competition. And I want to go back to years and years ago. The investment of oligarchs into football, people have blamed it to this. I'm not saying it personally, but people have said the Man City investment in 08 started this. It's all started since then.
It was before that. It was way before that.
It would be the Chelsea one, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
but even United over the years is what, like, I know.
Even Blackburn, if you remember.
Yeah,
Blackburn.
exactly. That's what I mean. It wasn't one team's fault. You can't just blame it on Chelsea or Manchester City or whatever. You have to look at the Premier League as a whole, from all the TV deals that they've had. They are a massive part of this as well. And now that they're not benefiting from it, they're crying about it.
I'm just saying.
That's the point that I'm making as well. Like it's the fault of a lot of clubs for prioritizing how can we make more money. How can we make more money? That way we can get more TV deals, be in front of bigger audiences. And we as fans just kind of were like, yep, we want that. Like we want that. So we're just gonna allow that to happen. I'm not surprised, knowing what I know about Germany, I'm not surprised that like Dortmund and like Bayern are like really fighting hard to not be a part of the Super League. I'm not surprised, given how culturally the sport is done in their country. It's not done the same way.
Quickly, just a quick point. Yeah, I was going to say, I think the reason for that is the structure though as well. Because we don't have the same structure in England. I believe it's a 51-49 structure that I heard Bayern Ryan talking about yesterday. So obviously fans have ownership in the clubs, which means that they have a bigger say. Now, I do think if the same thing had applied in England, obviously we would vote against this. We would vote against it.
Don't you find it interesting that now the Premier League want to implement the 50+1 because everything's going against them now?
After
why not do this before? Why not do this before?
You know what? Also,
Man United
the Premier League, the Premier League was created to benefit the TV broadcasting companies. The TV broadcasting companies literally created the Premier League so they could get more money. Literally, the clubs created the Premier League.
Well, it's backfiring against them. Remember when Champions League was free?
Rupert Murdoch basically created the Premier League. Sky basically created the Premier League to make so they can have more money, more influence over the football. And back in the days of the 90s, the big four, which was Everton, Spurs, Arsenal, and Liverpool and United, the big five, they wanted to create the Premier League, move away from the first division, so those 5 clubs can have more TV revenue and more money going into the clubs. This is the sole reason the Premier League exists right now.
Yeah,
and now it's come back to bite them.
Exactly, Sam. That's what I'm saying, Sam.
Yeah, and
Go
this
on,
is,
Sam.
guys, this is just an extension. Like, it's just gonna get even worse now. Like, I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, like Chelsea about 22 odd years ago, who were we? We were nobody. We weren't a big team. We weren't elite. Like, if anybody's thought of Chelsea being in the Super League, it's laughable. Manchester City, 15 odd years ago, who the hell were they? You know, they had no right to place themselves in this elite bubble as well. Do you know what I mean? Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool, yes, they've held like influence in the footballing world for like a very, 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 very long time indeed. But at the end of the day, they're holding on to their past history and accolades, and they've not worked hard or invested since to kind of maintain that elite status at the club. They're piggybacking off of history. Do you know what I mean? And it's disregarding teams like I said, Leicester, like West Ham, almost relegated last year, competing for top 4 places. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, if the Super League comes, like these teams like that were literally like getting so close up there, they're just gonna get slammed back down to the bottom. Like, they will never be able to compete because these big teams will come, look at these teams who are kind of close to their level and take all their best players. And how on earth they're going to be able to say no? Do you know what I mean?
Answer your question.
As for the lower leagues,
Are you guys
listen, don't get me wrong. I think FIFA and UEFA are wrong for their responses, their actions, everything that they're saying, they're doing, like these power plays that are going on. Like, don't get me wrong, all of it makes me sick to my stomach. I hate it all. It's disgusting. But I'm saying this is literally where it's going. Like, the idea of meritocracy, hard work, is a complete kick in the face. It's basically trying to say, we don't give a crap. Stay in your goddamn lane. And I don't understand how people can't see like the bigger capitalist elitist picture. Like, the fact that you can't come from nothing and hope to be something anymore now. That journey's just tripled for you. This is where it's going. This is what's happening right now, and this is what's annoying. That I don't like. You guys are trying to say it's not about the money. It's not. It is about the money. It's completely 100% about the money.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Go on, Prime.
Go ahead, Prime.
I don't know. It makes me wonder, because if they're doing if they're doing this just because they want to have the biggest clubs in it. I mean, Spurs shouldn't be in. Maybe even possibly Chelsea shouldn't be in, because technically, we're not on the same level as Real Madrid or
Juventus
or as Manchester United.
Yeah, but you're more successful than them in the last few years. Not so much Real Madrid in the Champions League, but in terms of trophies, you're the most successful team in the Premier League anyway.
But this brings me back to my point. This brings me back to my point, Prime. About 20 odd years ago, we wouldn't be on the map. That's what I'm saying. We wouldn't be on. We wouldn't have had those accolades if we weren't given the chance to, get owners, get investors, people who actually cared about the club, get the players, get to that competitive level, be able to compete and get those accolades on our back. And so many of these other teams are not going to be able to be afforded this. And like you said, Leicester and West Ham, probably even arguably Everton, would deserve it more than Spurs and Arsenal at this point. But
that wasn't my point. My point is, like, how they're even claiming to do it doesn't even necessarily make sense. Because if they're going off history in terms of the size of the club, then there are teams that shouldn't be there. If they're going off of recent success, then Arsenal and Man United shouldn't be in there. Because in the last 10 years or so for United's case, 7 years United's case, 17 years for Arsenal's case, they haven't competed or been successful. So and even Arsenal don't really have money or spend money like that. So
Can I just say, bro?
No, this is why we're in it. I was going to say, we entered this league for the money, okay?
It's not even about money, bro. No,
the way you guys are punching bags.
Do you know what?
Punching bags.
Of course, it's about money for some of these.
Wait, hold on. Do you know why they've chosen these clubs?
3.5 billion. Of course, it's about
I know, but Andrew, do you know why they've chosen these clubs? By the way, because they have the highest fan backing. That's why.
Yeah, that's fine.
AC Milan have been a sleeping giant for 10 years, but they have a massive fan base. Arsenal, sleeping giant for almost 15 years.
Why Spurs in there?
Spurs, even Spurs, but it's a big name.
It's
financial.
Spurs are one of the
revenue.
Yeah, they've got a
Spurs are
new
one of the
stadium as well.
richest clubs in the world right now. Like, I mean, like that. That's the thing that we have to come to. That's the thing in this conversation. Like, we have to come to grips with as fans that this has nothing to do with how the club was founded. It has nothing to do with how the club built to their success. It has everything to do with how much money and how much traction the clubs have right now. That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Now you can sit there and you can say things like there are clubs that built their ways to having what they have today by being successful over the years. Like, that's a reality. But they're only focusing on it now. They're only focusing on what the clubs have to offer now. Because if you can't offer something huge in the Super League right now that's going to make people watch the teams play each other, then that's why you're not in it. Like, we can sit there and talk about the quality of the teams all day long.
Spurs are in it because of their stadium, bro. Spurs are in it because of their stadium.
Spurs are in it for more than their stadium. It's not just their stadium.
If it weren't for Harry Kane, if Harry Kane never became a Tottenham player, you wouldn't even be in it.
Hey guys, can I ask you guys a question quickly? Me and Prime were discussing this yesterday. Yeah? This is. I want to clarify. This is pure speculation. But do you guys think, when it comes to PSG, does it have anything to do with the World Cup coming up? Because we do know that the PSG owners are Qatari, and it's 22 World Cup is going to be in Qatar. I don't know. Do you guys think there's any correlation there?
I don't
know. It makes a lot of
because-
sense to me. I'll be honest.
No, because I'm thinking if this is an American idea, I'm thinking, you know, like they do in American sports, that when host cities bid to host the Super Bowl or something like that, they'll end up being like that. If Dubai or Qatar bid the most for a final of this Super League, then, you know, they're going to get it. I've got to go. Hang on, I'll be back in a minute.
Remember a few years ago, there was rumors that they were going to, like, they wanted to have, well, in the Premier League anyway, they wanted to have at least one game abroad in America or in Dubai.
Yeah.
There was rumors that they wanted to have the Champions League final in America.
Yeah.
So like this is like from a UEFA's point of view, they were always going to do this anyway. But the fact of the Super League came ahead and did it first, that's like it's corruption.
I don't think on a basis. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to grow the like viewership of a competition. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I also wouldn't host a European domestic club cup final in America. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Also, I just add one thing with the lawsuits. Okay, these 12 clubs have the best lawyers in the world. Literally, if you ever can't ban just one club in Man City, just imagine all these 12 clubs, the best lawyers.
But listen, Sam,
the best lawyers. Trust me, FIFA. There's no rules in FIFA that would regulate that they can ban a player if they go to an offshoot league. There's no rules.
Exactly.
It's already loopholes. Not even a lawyer.
That's not
And
true.
but do you know what, I was gonna say quickly, right? If Bayern, let's say if Bayern PSG accepted, we can't stop it because they have the monopoly. Like,
They already do.
They have 90%, but I don't know what the 10% is. If that
Bayern
10%
can't survive on their own. Bayern PSG can't survive on their own. With the ascendancy is with the Super League now, because Bayern can't. How are Bayern going to survive by winning the Champions League every year? Let's just say they're not going to survive. There's no competition for them, so it's already gone.
That brings me back to the thing that I was saying earlier. Like, are we as fans, especially if we're fans of teams in the top six, are we can't suddenly start talking about the sport now as if commercialization is like such an issue. Like the sport has been commercialized all like to hell and back for years now, and nobody has been talking about it to the degree that they are now.
The benefit it does. That's
So are we upset with commercialization of the sport because it has bred the Super League? It gave birth to the Super League, which ruins what we perceive the game should be? Or are we upset with commercialization because it takes the power away from the fans and puts it in the hands of the people who make money? Like, that's it. Like that's the part of it for me that I think we have to start asking ourselves as football fans. Like, we let it happen for such a long time, and now it's gave birth to the Super League, and now all of a sudden we're upset. Like, why weren't we upset 10 years ago when Arsene Wenger mentioned that it could happen 10 years down the line? You know what I mean?
Also, breaking news: the governments have threatened, if for the European Super League teams, that they will not provide any police towards the events.
Yeah, but they'll be making. Here's the thing: they'll be making so much money they'll provide their own security.
Exactly.
Yeah, like exactly.
Listen, you're talking about some of the smartest businessmen in the world, right? They know exactly what they are doing. Okay, bring them a lawsuit, we'll pay it. Not going to provide police, we'll provide our own. Like it's irrelevant. I think the maddest thing is the no relegation thing. I think it's mad.
Yeah.
I think it's mad. There are fans out there that are like, who wants to watch Norwich versus West Brom? I want to see Man United versus Real Madrid, and
I guarantee you they're all American, Indiana. I guarantee you they're all American.
Some of them are actually from Manchester. Some of them are actually from Manchester.
I bet they moved there from Wisconsin.
No, not proper English fans, and I just think this novelty will wear off. It won't be as special. It will not be as special.
I say that jokingly because like all of the biggest like sporting events are just all the biggest competitions in America are essentially super leagues. So like the NFL is the Super League, the NBA is the Super League, right? You can't be relegated from the NBA. In the NFL, if you're like 10 games into a 16 game NFL season and you're like, man, we're garbage, you can just tank.
Yeah,
you can tank the season and rebuild later.
Right. You remember with the Charlotte Hornets in early 2010s when they went bust and they couldn't get rid of the club, so the league took over the club themselves. I think, so even if the owner goes bust here,
you will be rescued if you like that's a thing in America. So like, and I get this. I'm frustrated by this because I've wanted to learn over the years like why clubs mean so much to people and like how things are structured. But if you're like an American who's like been watching the Premier League and you see the announcement of the Super League, most people are going to be like, well, I don't see what the big issue is. I mean, why wouldn't people want to watch Man United play Real Madrid 16 times a year? You know what I mean?
Right. Can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
You watch the NBA, right?
I do.
Do you think that regular season games, like for example, Lakers versus Nets, for example, this year, do you think if it happened four times a year, it would be watered down? It does happen 4 times a year, right? Anyways, it does happen 4 times a year.
It does. Yeah, it does happen 4 times a year.
Is it watered down?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it'll get watered down.
No, and that's the thing. Like that's the thing. People are like, the reason that we watch the Champions League as fans, one is to support our club and if they're in it, right? One, to support our club if they're in the competition, but 2 is to watch our teams potentially play the best in the world, right? So like,
yeah, but you have to earn it. That's the point.
You do. I agree with you, Indiana. I agree with you. You do have to earn it. But you also have to understand that idea of having to earn your way there is a structural thing that is very European and not American for a lot of people. You know what I mean?
They've literally just come out. They literally just come out and said, so United figures believe that UEFA are not lawful, and the Premier League and Champions League would be compromised if they expelled the big 6 clubs, as it would devalue the competitions.
Yeah,
and this is what I'm saying. They know this. They know this.
So the Super League,
Edward Hagen, as the Super League has planned a solidarity fund of about 10 billion for smaller clubs, which would be about 6 billion more than what UEFA is currently contributing.
Exactly that.
It's a genius move. It's a
PR,
genius
buddy.
move.
PR, buddy. That's beautiful PR.
No, it's the
Can
commercial
you-
league, man. It's the
can you tweet me
commercial
that?
league.
Oh yeah, cool.
I just don't like the idea of any league where you're not there on merit.
I agree.
I don't
I
like
agree.
it because
I
if we're,
completely agree.
if we're talking,
Indiana.
if we're actually talking about elite clubs, sorry to say it, but Chelsea don't get in there.
Not
Chelsea
in
don't
the
even get in
policy.
there.
Oh, it's-
Not in the
Think
policy.
about it. No. Think about this. Think about this.
Yeah, it's
When you
true.
think if you're going to make a small league, right? A small league of the elite clubs, you would take Ajax, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool, probably not. I'm not going to say Arsenal. I'm not going to put them in it. Juventus,
Milan.
AC Milan,
Inter.
Bayern. You'd put all these clubs into one Super League. Because here's my thing: who is the next Chelsea?
Yeah.
Who's the next Chelsea? Chelsea
Yeah.
weren't this. Chelsea were not this relevant
Who-
20
who
years
is-
ago.
Who's
It's not
the
about
next
the elite, though.
City? Exactly.
But
Who's the
that's
next
what I'm saying. It's
City?
not
Yeah.
about
That's what I'm saying. Teams
Yeah,
like
it's
Leicester and
about
West Ham.
finances. It's
Teams
about
like
finances.
teams like Leicester and West Ham must be spinning right now to think that are you mad? The work that we've put in, and Arsenal and Spurs are more elite than us. It's mental. So I completely agree with you, Indiana.
It's not easy.
Completely agree with
You can say that, but it's also the work of the teams that are actually in the European Super League as well. I was euphoric after Saturday, thinking what the end of the season's going to be. They sucked the joy out of it last night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've wanted to play Real Madrid. I've wanted to play Real Madrid for over 20
we-
years in
we
the
went
Champions
from-
League. I'm now going to go and play them like 4 times a year. It's
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
bollocks, man.
Andrew, as Chelsea fans, we went from thinking we'll get top 4
Yeah.
in the FA Cup and Champions League to
What? To what?
Exactly.
Doesn't
What's
matter.
the point?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, it's just a madness, man. I've got no issue with revamping the Champions League.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
actually
Yeah, I agree.
actually turning that into a league over the season. But
Yeah.
I've got a huge issue with putting. I got an issue with putting Spurs in there. Of course, I have. I got an issue with Spurs being called the top 6 in our Premier League, let alone putting them in a Super League. Like, I'm not even joking. No, I'm serious
No,
about
I
it.
know, I
I'm
know.
serious.
I
I think it's hugely disrespectful to Leicester.
Yeah, that's the one.
Really
That's the
disrespectful.
one.
Wait, Indiana, can I ask you a
Respectful to
question? Indiana.
Arsenal can't even get fucking Europa. They can't even get Europa, and you're going to put them in a league where they're guaranteed 300 million a year. They're going to double the amount of money they make.
Yeah.
And what does that say about clubs like West Ham?
Wait, Indiana, can I ask you a question?
You know-
Wait, can I ask one point? You said you don't mind if the UEFA Champions League was revamped, right? But can I ask you a question? Like,
Yeah.
do you not find it very uncomfortable that we've just brushed over corruption cases that's happened in FIFA and in UEFA? Like,
No,
honestly-
I'm 100% with that. I get that because I think FIFA and UEFA have got way too much power. There's too many brown envelopes. being
That's the
passed
problem,
around.
though.
We know that. We get that, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. What I don't want to see, I just don't want. I don't want to see the structure of how our football is played right now. What it means to clubs. I like that Wigan beat Man City 1-0. I enjoyed West Brom beating Chelsea. I like away days to Burnley. We're going to scrap it out and there's talking points about the game. I enjoy all that. I don't want to watch the same teams play each other week in, week out and have no Champions League. Trust me, within 2 seasons, this Super League will not be special anymore.
No.
It won't be.
We're gonna be praying.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
But Indiana, they're going to change it up.
thing is-
If it doesn't work out, they're going to change it up and add new teams in. That's what they're going to do.
No,
But
Stens.
They are, though.
No, the only way they will change it up is if they stop making money from it.
Yeah.
And they
You're
will.
so wrong.
But that's what he's saying. People stop watching, so they start changing it up.
Yeah, but people are not going to stop watching.
They're not going to stop.
You're talking about teams with global fan bases. Do you think like people in Asia are going to give a fuck? In the
No.
States, they're
No.
not going to give a shit.
No.
They don't care.
I think Stans has a bit of a point.
They don't live here. They don't understand
No,
what
they-
football means to us.
And they don't care about the lower league either.
Manchester United.
Guys,
Yeah.
the reason I
They're
brought
not
up the
talking-
NBA,
they're not
the
talk-
reason
they're
I
not
brought up
talking
the
about Oli
NBA
and
is
Oli out.
people still watch their games, guys.
think-
That's why I
I
brought up the
think-
NBA because people
I
still
think
watch their
Stens
games.
has I think Stans has a bit of a point because, for example, Arsenal and Spurs, teams that don't invest anyway, this new influx of money is not gonna change them. not all of a sudden going to be the best team in this season.
No, that's the point, Brian.
Hold on.
This is what will kill it. This is what will kill it. Let me explain this. Because Manchester United will make more money. That doesn't mean to say they'll invest more. And that doesn't mean to say the Cronkies will invest more money and buy new players. It means they don't have to try as hard. That is the point.
Hold on. It means that eventually, when they revamp this in another decade, United is going to get left out. Arsenal, Spurs, maybe some teams in Europe, because Juve don't invest properly into their club anyway. Those teams will get left out because in another 10 or 20 years, they will no longer be big clubs. So this is going to end up being worse for our teams in the long run.
But Prime, what did you read last? We read last night, right? And I said it on Niall's stream. I said 3.5 billion just for entering this, right? There was I don't know how true it is. There was like a speculation that Roman Abramovich, they've looked into revamping Stamford Bridge not to 60,000 to 80,000 now.
Yeah.
For this investment.
Oh no, you'll see that.
Yeah, he doesn't have to pay for it. He doesn't have to pay for it. I
literally put out a tweet yesterday when the news came out. I said, watch all of the good news spins coming out. Watch them all. New training grounds, new stadiums, transfers.
Naming rights,
new sponsors for everything. It will be the commercial league. There's a part of me that thinks, actually, this might not go in Chelsea's favour, in a way. Think about this. What can Chelsea do in the league that everybody else can't, in a way? Buy players, right?
This is my point, guys. We're headed for more corruption. Like, you think FIFA and UEFA is bad enough? This is even more corruption.
But Indiana, we have more money already. We started with more money than other clubs, so we'll just be in a more privileged position.
Indiana, do you watch F1?
No. But the other clubs. Now, hang on. The other clubs will be able to buy players. So let's say you want Haaland, right? Let's say you want Haaland. But Man City now have this money that they can spend. He can actually choose whether he wants Chelsea or Man City because they can match the money. So Chelsea went for the first season at least. Chelsea will be able to buy their way in. Does that make sense?
They're gonna start doing swaps. They're gonna start doing trades like the NBA. I'm telling you, that's the only logical thing you can do.
I fucking hope.
I don't want that.
What's going to be the norm now? £1 million a week players in seeing.
Oh yeah, that's done. That's done. £1 million a pound.
No, but the reason there'll be trades.
Messi's already
everyone can afford them. They know this. They have to make it a level playing field, or they're going to start doing trades and swaps. I promise you, man. That's the only.
No.
I'm down. Casemiro for Fred. Let's do it. I'm here for it.
Right now I got Xhaka for Fred. I'm not going to lie.
No. This is what they're going to do if they can add that a salary cap or a transfer cap. So they're going to limit amount you can spend on a single transfer window and the amount of wages you can spend. That's what they're going to do.
Guys, that's assuming they're going to scrap the league, which I don't think will happen again. I'm telling you.
The Prem needs these teams.
That's the thing, guys. You have to understand. Top 6 can survive without the Premier League. The Premier League cannot survive without top 6. So they're going to have to give up their hand.
This is all about UEFA and FIFA, man. This is all about UEFA. And FIFA.
The Premier League should stay out of it. The Premier League, there's no need for the Premier League to get involved in this. These 6 clubs control the league. These 6 clubs created this league.
And do you know why they do? Do you know what, Sam? Because they give them the money to. That's why we keep getting the TV rights.
Here's what they're doing. Right now. They're playing a card right now, saying to these clubs, basically, what we want you to do is stay in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. But they're only because there's so much money involved and there's so much power.
Yeah.
All they can do right now is make them think. So they're threatening them with this season and next, and saying, "Look, you're not going to be part of the Premier League. You're not going to be part of these cup competitions. So now these clubs will be talking about this. How do we make this work?" And it's about a compromise. So it's basically the first shots have been thrown. It's like buying a player, right? So, for instance, let's say Man United want Sancho this season. Dortmund will say it's 120 mil. Man United will say, "Well, no, we're only paying 70." In the end, they'll meet for about 90 mil.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, like, it's just the first shots being thrown. We don't actually know anything right now. But it does not change the fact that I do not like the idea of teams not being able to be relegated. I don't like the idea of a team like Leicester being able to get into the Champions League. I don't like it. As for PSG and Bayern, they will join.
They will join. They'll have to.
I literally, yeah.
They'll join
And
in 3 years.
Dortmund will as well. Dortmund are standing right now. They will. They'll join.
Of course
it.
they will.
Of course they will. They'll be in a position where they won't be able to compete at all. And
Yes.
the players, and they won't even be able to sign the young talents because
No.
the young talents will want to be able to play in the top level. So it's gonna set a marker that again. I'm not liking the fact that we don't have a top 4 to get into it. I would much rather we did the same process of top 4s from around Europe, and then the Champions League became a league rather than a knockout competition.
That's what
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's exactly what I want as well.
Casemiro for Fred. I'm down. I'm
already
telling
said
you,
Pepper for Oblak.
you're right.
And Fred for a bag of potatoes. I'm down for that as well. It's fine.
Excuse me, you're in the Super League. We can do better than a bag of potatoes.
Listen, I take
Three
Pastor
bags of
KJ for
potatoes.
Pastor Fred right
Yeah,
now.
2 bags of potatoes. Don't insult me.
Sorry, plural. Bags of potatoes. Sorry, bags of potatoes. Not one bag. Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
I can't. I just can't see how this is going to work in the way that is proposed. And I think these clubs know that. They know that, which is why they
It will like one of the things I think Prime said it really early on. I think it like something that I think he's absolutely right. Like there's a level at which now that some of us are still kind of hanging on to this like love for the game despite where the game has gone. If the Super League ends up going the direction that they're proposing it does, that will kill anybody's notion that the game is beautiful, that the game is about the fans, the game is about where clubs have come from to where they are now, and it's all about money.
Brian, do you not think it was heading that way already without the?
Oh, absolutely. I said that a ton earlier. Like the game has been like. Are you kidding me? Football teams' kits look like NASCAR jerseys, dude. Like there's nothing but licensing all over them. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
There's nothing but licensing all over them. Like commercialization has been around for forever. This is when you value money that much. That money's always going to trump everything else. It always is. Like if you look at the Premier League like TV deal, which is outrageous. Like there was a year where Barcelona under Pep Guardiola won everything that you could win in a season, and they still finished in the red at the end of the fiscal year. They still finished in the red because they weren't making enough money through revenue from people watching the games. But Sunderland got relegated that year and made more money over the year than Barcelona did.
That's what I'm saying. They gave him this power.
Like,
They gave him this power. They gave it to him.
Do you know what it is though?
Look what's happened now.
Do you know what one of my big hates is going to be about this? Because I still think the Premier League is going to carry on, but let's just say everything that's come out is true and that's how it's going to stand. We won't actually really notice the quality of a Jack Grealish. We won't notice the quality of these players playing at these lesser clubs unless we see them performing against top clubs.
Yeah, we won't.
And that's another issue for me.
You won't notice the Grealishes,
I
the
just
John
think-
McGinns, the Sakas, those lesser clubs.
And I don't know how that benefits. I don't know how that benefits the
The
top clubs to do
Martial,
that.
the Rashford.
There has
Easy.
to
We're in
be
the
a
Super League,
compromise.
buddy.
Yeah, I've got a question, guys. I got a question. Wait, what the hell is the UK government going to do to try to stop this? There's nothing they can do.
Actually, that's not quite true though, is it?
No, there's a lot of negotiation that will take place. Like this is just this is just the first shot. It's like there will be a compromise.
You have to remember as well
Agreed.
That players are registered to the FA of their domestic leagues as well,
Yeah.
right? So you'd have your British FA, La Liga's FA, etc., etc.
Yep.
So in terms of transferring a player's registration to another team, especially abroad, the FA have to give permission for that. So in terms of the Super League, there has to be a compromise. Otherwise, those players registered in this country will not be able to transfer to the Super League.
Yep.
So there's that will be settled in court. We were speaking to Nuruddin about it yesterday, and it will be settled in court.
So many lawsuits, man. So many lawsuits.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
going to be the
So
biggest
many.
lawsuits
Yeah,
ever.
but they're
The
not worried, Rachel. They're not worried
they'll be
about
teaching
that.
you about
This is all worked out. Otherwise, they're not.
Yeah, they've worked it out. Yeah, but it's
This
still going to be
contradicted.
I just think right now this is history. Like in 50, 60 years, they'll speak about this day. They'll speak about these lawsuits. This will possibly be one of the biggest lawsuits of all time.
But there's going to be multiple lawsuits, so there's not going to be just one thing. It's going to be so many things that are going to go on.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
depending on like the rulings in the court, some things will go against them and some things will go for them. And
I
then
think
they have
it's-
to work out a compromise after
I'm
that.
not worried about the lawsuits. These 12 clubs have the best lawyers in the world. They
It
have
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There are some things that will contradict EU law anyway.
True.
So it's not about that. The European Union is very, very strict on certain things.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into consideration. They will know what they can win and they'll know that what they can't win, and they'll compromise from there. Like there's going to be it's going to go on for ages because of it. Trust me, it's not just going to be simple. They haven't got it all figured out, but they've got a plan basically, and hopefully, there'll be a compromise and we can sort this out
Oh
properly.
no, they've been working on this for over a decade. They know what they're doing. Now.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You
so
know what-
even when they announced that the Super League was going to start as early as August 2021, like that's just them saying, look, we know conversations are going to be had. Let's go ahead and get the ball rolling now instead of like sitting on our hands for years. Like they're just empty threats to just get the conversation started, because the Super League is going to happen. But if it happens to the degree that it is right now, football's ruined. So that can't happen.
Yeah.
You know what else is interesting? Like Jose Mourinho's been sacked today, and no one's barely talking about it.
Emery's
This is
next.
how major. Emery.
Yeah, he's
Nah,
next.
Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, he cares about it.
He ain't gonna survive in that.
Listen, I'm so bored of fucking Spurs stuff, man.
Chris, why is Emery next?
Why not? Like, why do you think he's gonna survive in that Super League against all the leads?
Hell yeah.
Well, Emery,
Wait,
He'd be getting spanked.
He's
Wait,
not.
why is he getting the sack though?
Not Emery. No. What am I saying, Emery? I meant Arteta. Crap.
He looks the same. He looks the same.
They're getting paid whatever. They're getting paid whatever.
Real Chris don't recognise Arteta. I love it. He doesn't even recognise him.
Dude, I don't think Arsenal would care one bit if we're bottom, as long as we're making.
No, yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. You can live all your games.
So why did Jose get sacked then?
Sam, how do you feel that he's gonna get sponsored by Bayern?
Listen, no. The
Jose
club
didn't
don't
get
care.
sacked because of the
Honestly,
Super
don't
League.
care.
Yeah, he didn't get sacked because of the Super League.
Jose didn't get sacked because of the Super League.
He's been sacked since Wednesday,
Because
apparently.
he's Jose.
Well, not Wednesday. Yeah, when he's Jose. Yeah.
They've become 12th every
Okay.
year. They won't give
Actually, big
up.
up Jose.
You know if they're joining the Super League, do you reckon?
Getting sacked. You know that, right?
Yeah, you know, for example, like, do you reckon if they're joining the Super League, do you reckon a lot of players from like clubs would go, like the ones who won't be good enough to go there?
But that's the thing, Chris. Do you know what's interesting? It's interesting if FIFA will allow these men to just join the Super League, join these clubs, make transfers between them. I don't know if that will happen, man. The ego will be too hurt to allow that to happen. That's a crazy thing. You know, clubs from like Leicester, the Premier League teams, even the teams in like Real Betis. Do you think they're gonna allow FIFA gonna allow players from there to join the Super League teams? I don't know, man.
Yeah, the EFL just
They might say you can't come back.
But all I'm gonna say is money
The
talks.
the EFL have released a statement backing the FA in the Premier League, and it stands with FIFA opposing the European Super League, and they claim that tens of thousands.
What a joke! Standing with FIFA.
Threaten the existence of clubs and fans.
How ironic!
What a joke, man! Standing your way from
They've been scumming us for years, and now they're the protectors.
I'm sure Sepp Blatter was thinking about the people when he gave Qatar the World Cup. Yeah, when corruption came up. I'm sure he was thinking about the people.
He's thinking
as well.
about the EFL. Yeah, he's thinking about the EFL when that happened. Yeah.
Who was the guy? Lee Mason. Yeah, he threw that money at Sepp Blatter when the FIFA conference. Yeah, Lee Mason. That was one of the best images. He got in, threw the money at Sepp Blatter. The corruption in FIFA was so obvious. It took him that long to investigate it. For all those years, all these tournaments, the '98 World Cup, it was quite obvious. Platini said
but listen, right? There's no proof.
Let him finish.
Platini said himself, two of the best teams ever want to see a final, Brazil and France. Platini was one of the commissioners at UEFA at the time. So obviously, this is going back since the 80s, 70s, 60s. FIFA has been corrupt. Football has been corrupt. in a European game at the largest extent football has been corrupt. The first time it really was shown was in '98 with the France and Brazil final, and with the Ronaldo incident, pre-game with the seizures, the controversy, him being forced to play. It showed the corruption of the game, and it showed how much impact the commercial aspect of the game, like how much the commercial, like Nike had so much. Nike forced him to play that game, so obviously the commercials have more power over the teams than the players right now. It's been around for almost 30 years, so it's only recently now that people are quite open to it and seeing it.
There is a flip side to this as well. From the club's point of view, is that players have so much power and the agents and so much money.
Yeah,
like this is also the clubs staying a step ahead, right? Because they've created this Super League, and it's like, okay, you want to behave like that, don't be part of it. Like there's other options, so they've kind of equaled it out so that the agents can't really push for like the best money as such, because everyone's got the same money. They can't move their players around like they do now in terms of lock them down to long contracts and then try and move them to upset the club. Is
the UEFA president, man? Look at it now. We didn't know we had snakes working close to us, but now we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Who said that?
The UEFA
Woodward,
president.
man. Woodward, man. That guy's a prick.
See, but UEFA's part of the problem too. So
Whoa. Woodward is a saint, all right?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Don't even say that as a joke.
Yeah, he's
Not even as a joke.
It makes complete sense why Manchester United didn't go out and buy Sancho now.
Jose Mourinho
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense why United can go out and exactly why they think they can go out and get Sancho this year opposed to last. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. How will FIFA allow that to happen though?
Yeah. No, Mourinho just left the training ground as well. He's gone. So what was the reason for him leaving? I'm not sure it's results. Because this is the timing of it.
It was results. It was results.
No. Why?
They reported a couple of days before that he was going to have a meeting on the Monday.
Yeah.
Like showdown talks, and obviously he got sacked. Those are the talks. So I don't believe it was because of the Super League. I think it was because of the results. Like Babambe's turned on him. The players probably turned on him as well. I don't think it was anything to do with that.
People think George is a saint. Like, he took a stance against the Super League. Come on now.
Some of the
I can't see that.
As well.
What did Rachel say?
There's a lot of Man United fans sticking up for him, saying, respect for him, blah blah blah. The Ollie Outers are doing it, like the extreme Ollie Outers are doing it.
Man.
Because why wouldn't they?
Insane,
Idiots. I'm telling you.
Yeah, suddenly Jose's got principles. You know what I mean? Man hangs on to his fire to get a severance package. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm for Mr. Romano was showing now because I know the news. The belief at Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United and Tottenham is that the Premier League will not be able to survive without its biggest clubs. So
It's true. Well, tell me this: who pays money to watch Newcastle versus Burnley?
Exactly.
Are you gonna wake up and say, "Wow"?
Which is why Sky and BT will have more influence over the Premier League than say UEFA will. Sky and BT.
It's all going to Amazon, man. You watch.
I've been saying this for a while now. Amazon is slowly buying
Disney.
No, Indiana. Whoever buys these rights to this Super League, if it goes ahead, they're going to do this. I bet you do this. They'll do an overall season ticket to watch all the games, or you do an individual club ticket as well. That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
NFL
$4.99 a month, I believe, for the NBA.
Yeah, they'll do that.
The thing is, if that happens, I won't need BT Sport or Sky.
Exactly.
Yeah, I won't need them because I'm not interested in watching their news anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They'll be dead.
It was gonna. You know what?
I bet they're shitting themselves.
Of course they are.
They're all off.
I'm so happy that BT, because BT is one of the worst footballing companies.
I know they are.
They're all terrible in that country.
Darren Fletcher and Stephen Madden.
You guys remember Champions League was free?
Yeah, on YouTube.
I'll say like in the 5 month period or so, like close to 6 months that I spent over when I was in England, and I was like, oh man, I'm like in England. It's going to be so easy for me to watch Man United play. I had no idea the things that you all have to go through in that country to just watch your teams play. It's outrageous. Like
Yeah.
Like I was like, how is it not so simple as like just putting the games on? Like why is it have to be super complicated?
It's to do with the stadium. Yeah, it's to do with the match day revenue with the stadium. Because when I went to Cyprus on holiday, they had every single Premier League game in one pub on different screens every single week.
I can watch
sometimes
every
twice a
Premier
week.
League game here in the United States easily. Like easily. And I was just like, I can't find the game. What's going on?
It's expensive over here as well, man.
Yeah,
it's expensive. If you want to watch all the games, you're looking at like to pay like legally. You have to pay for Amazon. That's like £7 a month, right? Then you've got BT Sport, which is around. I think the average. I pay less, but I think the average is like around £15 a month. Then you've got Sky Sports. In order to have Sky Sports, you have to have Sky,
30.
which can be anywhere from like £30 up to 90, depending on your subscription. Like a month, this is. It's crazy. You could easily pay over £125 a month.
You
just
can't
to
have a
watch
simple sports package either. It's got to come with something else.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
Some other channels you'll never watch.
No, they literally want to charge me. They want to charge me £95 a month for Sky, even though I've been with them for like 3 years. So what I've done is put it in my partner's name, got an extra box for the bedroom and one for the kids' room, and I'm paying £62.
Come on. Come on, yeah. I love to see it, man. Apparently, guys, you know, the Premier League, they want to protect football, you know, guys, the Premier League, you know, they want to protect the essence of football, man. God, man. What a great company, man.
They want to.
I know he's gonna watch football after this.
Is there? Because it's been 2 hours 6 minutes. I'm going to kind of wrap this up. Is there anything closing thoughts anyone has?
Let's bring on
it's billionaires.
Everyone clearly.
I'm sharing all pictures of each owners.
Everybody watching, make sure you go follow Barry on socials.
Who's laughing? Who's laughing?
What's this doing?
Is there any closing thoughts people have before we?
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah.
I echo what Indiana just said. Follow Barry. It's all good.
Hi, Andrew.
Yeah, I do have closing thoughts.
Wait, who's supporting the locals now?
I'm still Barry from the block.
Yeah, go Samuel. Go Samuel. What is it?
The thing, it doesn't worry me anymore. The more I think about the Super League, the less I'm concerned. To think about it, okay, the Champions League, okay, its time has come, its time has passed. Football, like I said, is constantly an evolving sport. Football will always constantly evolve. Football will always constantly adapt. And if this is a step forward and football is adapting, then so be it. So be it. This is the way we have to go now.
Football was made by the poor, stolen from the rich.
It's turning into cricket now.
I say let's bring on the
I'm
Super
watching
League,
cricket
yeah?
at the moment, so I'm good.
All right. Yeah.
Barry, can you hear me?
Don't look at the preference.
You know what? I'm back. In the
Hey, Barry.
I'm gonna end it on this. Disney, I'm Miley Cyrus, and this is the Super League. I got that funny. Where's the end?
Hey there, Barry. What's it like in New York?